which is Pat Collin. His speech for tonight is whistleblowing. Is that right?
That's right.
And let's welcome Pat Collin.
Thank you, Mr. Conference Master. Hey, everybody. So there's that one house every Halloween that puts out that bowl of candy. All the lights are off, and they just put out a bowl of candy. And there's that little handwritten sign that says, "Please take one." You never wanted to be that kid to tell your friends, or your brother or sister, that they just reached in and grabbed a huge handful and put it into their bag. So you didn't want to be a tattletale. So then, when you got into middle school and high school, you didn't want to be that kid who told on a friend who was skipping class, or who was looking over the shoulder of the person in front of them taking the test or the quiz, because it's not the cool thing to do. You didn't want to be a snitch. But as we grow older, we lose some of these reservations of trying to fit in or be cool. We also amass a lot of responsibility whether we like it or not. And there comes a point when we need to speak up when we see someone doing something wrong. The term whistleblower comes from probably what you're thinking. During a sporting event, when a referee blows a whistle for a foul or an illegal play. So a whistleblower is someone who tells the public or a person of authority when they see someone doing something wrong. There's two kinds: an internal whistleblower and an external whistleblower. An internal whistleblower is someone who tells another person within that company, community, organization, club, or whatever, that they witnessed someone doing something wrong. An external whistleblower is someone who goes straight to the authority, a lawyer, the media, police officer, or whatever. There's some risk to doing this. Risk of retaliation. You can lose your job. You can lose trust. You can lose friendship. So the most famous example of whistleblowing was back in 1986 with the NASA Challenger. This spaceship blasted off and within 1 minute completely exploded, killing 7 crew members, including Krista McAuliffe, who was attempting to be the first teacher up in space. And the reason for this? The O-ring was not sealed correctly around the booster, so it allowed hot pressurized gas to get into the fuel tank and cause a massive explosion. The funny thing is, top management at NASA knew about this. They knew that the O-ring was not a perfect science. They knew that it was flawed and that there was a chance that it could not work correctly. On top of that, the engineers within NASA heavily discouraged the management from allowing this space shuttle to lift off, because that night before, temperatures dropped below 0, and that further inhibits the seal to be correctly sealed. But they ignored it, and unfortunately cost 7 people's lives. So the lesson here is top management is not always right. They might be daunting or intimidating because they're your superiors, but you need to stand up and not be afraid when you see something wrong. You also need to provide solid evidence when you see something wrong to further prove your point. So you might be thinking, I'll never be in a situation like that. You know, nothing that serious or that grave. Like, I would never be to witness something so bad that I'd have to go tell the police. But it's not always that extreme. These situations come up at home, in your personal life, at work, a club, maybe your church. When was at Clemson, I had a buddy who got heavily intoxicated on more nights than less. He went through this phase where he would steal tips from the bartenders when he was drunk. So he started out, maybe 5, 10, 15 bucks a night. He'd reach in the tip jar, grab a fistful of cash, put it in his pocket. They wouldn't notice because they were so busy. This became a trend, and he ended up going home with 40 to 60 bucks a night on certain weekends. I'm not going to lie, free drinks and free food were great. But this was completely wrong. He was stealing from these bartenders, and they had no idea. So we talked to him for a little bit when he was sober. Like, you really got to stop doing this. It's not right. You're a terrible person for doing that. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So we went out that night. He ended up getting pretty drunk. And there he goes again, back to the tip jar. And so finally, me and my buddy went up to the bartender and the bouncer and told him what was going on, pointed him out. And sure enough, they caught him in the act. The bouncer punched him in the face and kicked him out of the bar. And he was banned from that bar for the rest of our time at Clemson. So needless to say, he was pretty pissed off when he found out when we had told on him, when we had tattled on him. But he eventually came around and realized what he was doing was completely wrong. And he needed to be called out. So in this situation, it's different. It's different when you're dealing with a friend and maybe a coworker, because you have that fear of losing that friendship or that trust. But when you see something wrong, you can't hesitate. You need to react and call them out. So I ask you guys this. Do you think those engineers in NASA or me and my friend are tattletales? Or do you think that we're selfless martyrs for public interest? In my opinion, I think there needs to be more people calling people out, speaking up when they see something wrong, and not being afraid of the consequences after. Mr. Contest Master.